Welcome to my channel today. Today we're going to be talking about function in Python, and but before we get into before we get into it, I want to really ask you, the only way you can support me here is to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And when we're done with this class, if you have any question, just go ahead and put in the comment section. All right. First of all, what is function? A function is a block of code that performs a specific task, right? So it is just in form of, when you write it once and you can use it at any time, right? So look, just think of a function like a button, right? You press it and something happens. So it's more like you call it and a lot happens inside of that particular function, right? So we have different, different types of function. We have functions that has no parameter. We have functions, parameter functions, and we have functions that return something. So we're going to be talking about all that today. Well, with that being said, let's dive right into the coding. So here, first of all, I'm going to come here and create a new file, and I'm going to call this function, right? And .py. All right, so let's take a basic function, the one without no parameter. Here, I'm just going to write def. The def means, it defines a function. Whenever you see def, and in Python, it means defining a function, right? And the next one is the name of the function. So let me call this one, let's say we want to greet, right? And you can close it. So the greet here is the name of the function, right? And then we must make sure we have a colon right here so that we can just kind of like, when we click enter, it automatically just give the 4 space bar down here. So if I take it back, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to this particular point. But most of the time, depending on the IDE you're using, when you come up from this place and you click enter, it automatically just create that for you because it knows that you're talking about a function. So with that being said, inside this function, we can put in every of our code. So here I'm gonna just come here and say, hello Prince, just like we did the other time. So I'm gonna say hello Prince. So this is a complete function without no parameter, right? So how do we actually call this function? So for you to call this function, all you need to do is just come down here and go back to the very beginning and type the name of that function, and boom, that's what it is. You called the function. Now let's save this and run and see what we got. I'm going to bring this up here and I'm going to write Python 3 and I'll call function.py. Now if we run that, you can see we have hello Prince, right? So if we do not call this function and we save and run the same code, let me clear this up and run it, nothing is going to happen. So your function is just there, nothing is happening. So you must call your function for you to see exactly what the function is supposed to do. So I'm just going to go back, save that and run it again. Now we can see the hello Prince. Does that make sense? Now let's move forward to the function with parameters. Now the way function with parameters means it's not really hard. You just have to define, for instance, come inside this particular greeting, or better still, let me just start it again from the beginning, just to, just so you can always try to remember that. Defining a function, you got to have def, and now we have greeting. Before, there was nothing inside this parenthesis, right? But now we have to define what we'd like to have. So here we would like to have name. And when we put that column down here, now we can print and say hello. For example, we can say hello. And now we can pass the name. Now, what does this actually mean? Let's say the name here is the parameter, right? The name you're seeing up here is the parameter. Now you can pass different value, at runtime. So when we mean at runtime, I mean whenever you call greeting, you can say hello. You can say Prince. You can also call greeting again, and you can say John actually. So it doesn't matter. It means at runtime, you can pass anything and it will automatically go and be replaced inside this particular print function here. So let's run this and see what we have. I'm going to clear this up and I'll run it again. And now you can see hello Prince, hello John. And if I go again and add one more here and I say greetings Sandra and save that, you're going to see we will have 3 now. Great. How amazing is that? Passing stuff dynamically. That's Great, right? Awesome. So let's talk about the last one for today, which is what? Which is a function with return value, right? All right, let me come down here and I'm gonna push this down a little bit, and let's write a function with with return statements. So here, let's say we have def, which is normal. If you want to define a function, you have to write your def. Now I'm gonna click on add, and which is what? The add is the name of the function, right? And the next thing is we open our parentheses. Should these actually take value? Yes, let's just say x and y. So it's going to be taking two values, right? Now inside this add, we want to add x and y together, right? So here we're going to say return, and we say x plus y, pretty much it. So what this function is, we define the function, name add, and we say take two arguments, and whenever anybody calls this function, add those two arguments together and return the result to the user. So what we're going to do here to see our result is we can come down here. Since we talk about variable, remember we talked about variable in a previous class, we can have our result and set it equal to add, and now we can pass, like, let's say 4 and 8 right together. Now the return, the addition of this x and y, which is 4 and 8, will be saved inside this variable result, right? And now we can go ahead and print the result. So here I'm gonna call result, and when we run this right now, I'm gonna clear this so we can have some space. We're going to see that we have 12 here, right? Forget about this, all this, or rather I can like comment them up so that we don't see them, right? Since we're done talking about that, we can just take that off, right? And now I can go ahead and save, clear, and when we run this right now, we're going to see 12. And that's how it works. So the return sends back a value back, that's what is going on here. So this particular stuff makes function very reusable, because I can say result 1, and I can also run the same thing and just change the value slightly, which is like maybe 45 and 8. No, let me say 18, 19 probably. And yeah, I can call result 1, and I can print another statement and call results 2 actually, and I'll just change this to 2. And when I save this and run, I'm gonna have two things up there, and I have 12 and I have 64. See how great this works. So it helps you to kind of like reuse statements and stuff like that. So the reason why function really matters, it actually helps us to avoid repetitive code, and it helps us. You can see how organized this is looking here, right? You can see the add and all the stuff. It's looking more organized instead of just writing x plus 1 and all the stuff. And it also helps us to debug stuff faster. And this right here, as a beginner, you know how to do this. You're already thinking like a developer. So with that being said, thank you guys. If you have any question, put it in the comment section. I'll do it to answer. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now. I'll see you guys in the next class.